YouTube, it's your girl Razia J, and I'm back with another video. If this is your very first time landing on my channel and seeing my face, welcome. And if you have been rocking with Ray, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. So guys, this video is a long-awaited Q&A. I have been getting, is this microphone on? Okay. I have been getting a lot of questions about social work related things and just my time at Fordham University that I thought that it was really important for me to sit down and do this Q&A before I transition completely out of student life. You know, I have done a few question answered type of videos. I have done some videos in the past where I have answered or addressed certain things, but the frequency I am getting certain questions in my DMs and via email is proven that I needed to do like a sit down video. So this, guys, is a sit down video, and I'm going to answer all the questions that I pulled that were either repetitive or just questions that I thought were really important. So if you are new, this channel is where we talk about all things faith, family, and social work. And I would say that those are the things that make me who I am. But this is also a space where I have leveraged being a social work student and giving out the information that did not come easy for me. I did not find them when I was Googling and YouTubing on the search thing for videos like this. When I was going to start my journey, they were not present. So I started to curate them because I believe that other people would need these. So if you want to know the answers to my most asked questions, stay tuned. So one of the first questions that I've gotten in the last 2 months is, do I plan on getting licensed? Now that I am a MSW, I do plan on taking my exam to become an LMSW, but I do not have any plans in the near future to become an LCSW because that is not the path that I am taking. Although they are macro social workers who do not get licensed, I would like to get licensed because it's something personally that I would like to do, and it is a credential that is in my state. So I feel like if your state has a licensing at the master's level, why not take the exam if you feel like you would pass it on the first or second try and get that licensure. So yes, I do plan on getting licensed within the next 6 months is my plan. I do plan on getting licensed within the next 6 months. If my mind or my thought process on that changes, you guys will find out sometime in the future. Do I plan on doing any direct practice? This is something that I have went back and forth with as I was going through my program. And what I will say is that I do not want to limit myself. So I do not want to come and say I will never do something when I don't know what the future holds. Right now, I am very macro focused. My entire master's program was macro focused. The only thing that I did do, and I will put this out there, if you are a student and you're going down that macro track, which is like if you're taking policy, community organizing, leadership, nonprofit leadership, if you're taking a track or a concentration that is strictly macro based, I will tell you to look into the regulations for the state that you currently live in and see if you need to have any clinical hours in order to have a clinical license. So in the state of New York, if I ever decided I wanted to have an LCSW, I would need to have 12 credit hours of clinical study at the graduate level. So what I did personally is I did take clinical classes. I took a CBT class. I took an assessment and diagnostic class. I took a individuals, family, and group class, and I took some other evidence-based theory class. So I took 4 classes, which equal to 12 credit hours of clinical classes. But I do not right now foresee myself going into direct practice. Even if I was to do something like facilitate a conversation or a webinar or a workshop and it had a mental health focus, or it was through a mental health lens. I think the modalities that I have studied in undergrad and graduate school has made me a little bit more confident. And I do have like a certification in CBT as well. But I don't plan on going into direct practice, to answer that question. How did I decide on a macro focus? I don't know if I shared this here, but when I was an undergraduate student, I took a class that was called social work practice. And I think it's a class that every undergraduate student takes, or if you're in a traditional 2-year MSW program, you will take this class. And basically the class, long story short, it puts you in situations where you would have to make decisions as a clinician. And in that class, I had to watch a lot of movies. And one of the movies that I watched was Precious. And although I watched that movie before, and I'm a type of person that gets very sensitive or emotional in movies. Casey, I'm recording and I gave you your Robux, so please keep it down. Please keep it down. Sorry guys, I lost my train of thought. So yes, even though I watched that movie before, something about watching it multiple times and breaking it apart and looking at it from a clinical lens really messed me up. And I was like, if this is social work, I don't want it. And that's when I started going on a deep nosedive on social work, what I can do with the social work degree, and started to really navigate what my career path would be as a social worker, because I realized then and there that the clinical stuff wasn't for me. And I would say this, first coming into social work, I really thought I was going to open like a private practice, because my friends, a lot of people that know me, a lot of people within my church family and my church community always say that I was a good sounding board. Like I gave people a space where they can just let things go, and then we can strategize on ways to get things where they wanted it, right? So I really thought I was going to go down that path. But after watching that movie a few times, I was like, this ain't it. This direct practice stuff is not it. I will facilitate. I would do a webinar. I would do I would do speaking engagements, but I'm not going to do anything direct practice. I'll be right back. So yes, guys, I don't know what was the last thing I said, but I was basically saying that I do not plan on doing direct practice. Once I took that class, I knew direct practice was not for me. And I'm okay with that, right? Because that's not the only thing that you have to do as a social worker. You don't have to do direct practice. You don't have to do client care. You don't have to do psychotherapy. You don't have to be a clinician. There's so many other things that you can do with a degree in social work that I'm okay. And I'm very confident in the degree that I got, that I would end up making a name and a career path for myself that makes me happy. And that is really what that matters. That's really what matters. Like if you went to school for a degree path, even if you deviate from the traditional or the normative way that people utilize that degree, as long as those skill sets is things that you believe are transferable to other things, you will be a-okay. You will be a-okay. Listen to me when I say it. Everyone doesn't have to be a psychotherapist. Everyone doesn't have to go into direct practice. Everyone does not have to have a private practice. Everyone doesn't have to have like a group practice or do group therapy. Everyone doesn't have to work in the school setting. Everyone doesn't have to work in the hospital setting. You can do what works best for you. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to do direct practice. And I decided to go macro because when I took that class, I for sure knew it wasn't for me. So if this is like repeating what I said before my son started crying, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to make sure I answered the question fully. How did I apply for my first job? So once again, because I am not going the traditional route, I could not just go on Indeed and put social worker, MSW into the job search criteria thing and expect it to pull up the jobs that I wanted. I looked for jobs that had the title of like program manager, program analyst, policy analyst, engagement coordinator, academic advisor. Those are some of the job titles that I searched, and that is how I applied for my first job. I would say this, that I applied for a number of jobs, including a job opportunity at my internship, because I felt like I didn't want to limit myself in a box. And also because of the things that I want to do with my social work degree, I had to have like conversations with my mentor and my business consultant, who is also a social worker, on how to get to my end goal. So they basically gave me ideas on how I can navigate the job search. So like I said, I didn't look for traditional things. I didn't even put in my degree per se. I didn't put in that I had a master's in social work. I do think that I did put in I had a master's, but that was it. I didn't put in like social work or any criteria like that, because I feel like that would have limited me. And also when I went to like Fordham University's virtual work fair, a lot of the jobs that I was getting offered were all in the micro space. And I believe it's because that is what is known. Till this very day, I'm getting emails saying, hey, I saw your resume on Handshake. We're looking for psychotherapists or case managers or case supervisors. And those are not jobs that I really want. So it is what it is. And I'll utilize the skills that I got from my degree to get where I want to get. So yes, what made me go with Fordham University? So I think I shared this on my channel before, that I did apply to multiple schools. Fordham was not the only school that I applied to. But when I decided to go with Fordham, it was for three things. I loved the way that the administration treated me, from the admissions department. Everyone that I came in contact with during the application process were chef kiss, immaculate. Their communication, like I said, they were over the top. Like, they called me often, they emailed me often. They really just wanted to make sure that I was good. And I really like that, because the type of person I am, I need to know that my money and my efforts are in good hands. And that's what I was looking for when I was looking for a graduate program. Regardless if it's online, I want to know that I'm not just another number. And I like that about Fordham. The second reason is that I looked up the faculty and it was very diverse. As a woman of color, that is important to me. I was tired of going through social work programs and only hearing one perspective. Social work can sometimes be very white, and not like white in the sense of just the race, but there's no black and white. Like, it's white. There are no like the voices that make the decisions are usually white men. And I was tired. Like, Salisbury University was a very, it was a predominantly white institution, and the funding for that school was great, but the program was very like, it wasn't diverse. There was no diversity. Yes, I took like a oppression class, a privilege and oppression class, but there was no real diversity. And when I wanted to look into a graduate program, I wanted to make sure that the faculty was diverse, that I would not just be hearing from white voices, but I will be hearing from Hispanics, that I will be hearing from Blacks, Asian Americans. I wanted to make sure that I was hearing from every ethnicity and culture out there, so that I can know that I'm a well-rounded social worker. And that's what happened. I had a professor, for crying out loud, at Fordham that was from South Africa. And she really made me look at social work from a different lens. And I appreciate that. And the third reason that I went with Fordham is that when I was looking into the university, it's a Jesuit university. And if you know anything about the Jesuit schools, it's where they embody the importance of education, but not just in a educational or academic perspective, but creating professionals that look at things from a holistic point of view. So from the spiritual, the emotional, the environmental, everything plays a role in an individual. So that was one of the reasons why I went with Fordham. How did I handle the advanced standing track being a wife and a mom? This was really a good question. And I got this question 4 times in the last week. I would say this: I had to prioritize my time. I did not hang out with my friends as much as I wanted to. I didn't do much of anything in the last 8 months because it was school, internship, wife, and mom. And I'm a military spouse of 2 small kids. So my daughter is 5 and my son just turned 3. So literally when I started this program, I had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And let's just say it was a little wild. I would think to tell people, if you are considering an advanced standing program and you have other responsibilities, ask yourself, what can you get rid of? So for me, I couldn't have a job. I literally was only allowed to be like a student, an intern, a mom, and a wife. And even that was cutting it close. There was moments where I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm so tired, or I have to take like an hour nap and finish this paper because I was tired. I was doing 21 hours a week at my internship on a good week, because there were weeks where I had other responsibilities that took up a little bit more of my time. So I would say a planner, a team, a community, someone to push you. I had friends that were literally pushing me across the finish line. But it's doable, especially if you have your head on straight and you know, like, this is the end goal. But if you know that you are a person who cannot handle a big to-do list, I would say spread it out and do a part-time program, because those 5 classes are not going to ask you. They're not going to ask you individually what other classes you have. And your internship, God forbid you are in direct practice with clients and a caseload and you have to do case notes. I don't know how I would have done that if that was my journey. But you just have to ask yourself, can I have tunnel vision for this amount of time to get to the end goal? It's doable though. The next question is, do I have any mentors? Yes, I do have a social work mentor. I love her. She is actually someone I knew before I even decided on this profession. And she is someone, I don't bombard her, but I do reach out to her when I need advice from someone who is seasoned. And she is definitely not a macro social worker. She has dabbled in all the branches of social work. I think micro, meso, and macro. She is at a leadership level now. But yes, I do have a mentor, and I'll recommend that to everyone. If you do not have a mentor and you are starting out in this profession, get you one. And a mentor does not have to be someone who is in the direct path that you want to go in, but it has to be someone whose professional embodiment is something that you look up to and you want to emulate, or you want to learn from or grow from. How to build a social work network as a social work student. Engage, reach out, slide into people's DMs, get on Instagram, get on social media, talk to people, look for community. If you are a student, look for what your school is doing. I know, like for Fordham, GSS, they had a lot of things going on. They had like committees, they had caucuses. Get yourself involved, talk to your professors. One thing I would say, build a network with your professors. Leverage that. Ask them, can you guys stay in contact after you graduate or after that course is over? If I tell you how many professors I have on LinkedIn and I have on Facebook and I have on Instagram, whatever means of communication they are willing to provide you with, take it, tap in. Your professors are your first level of like network. And I would say look around your class and look at how people are answering questions on their discussion boards or in live sessions, and find you some dope colleagues in that space, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be students forever. So look for some colleagues in your classes, and also get on social media, get on YouTube. If you see a social worker on YouTube and you feel like that person speaks to you, they resonate with you, you resonate with them, you like their energy on this space, reach out to them. You know, you never know, it might be a match made in heaven. The one thing I would say is don't be afraid to reach out to someone, because you never know what that power would be in that connection. I always tell people there's power in connections, so don't be afraid to reach out. Getting plugged in while being in an online program, how to do that. So one thing I would say, I just said it, plug yourself in with your professors. But for me, I was interning and someone was like, hey, we have a connection point at Fordham. We already are running the same exact thing that we're trying to bring to your internship at Fordham. Do you want us to connect you with the faculty chair? I said, yeah. They connected us, me and Dr. McCardle Zoomed it up. We had a Zoom coffee date and she was like, I love your energy. Do you want to be part of this committee? Can you balance it? And I was like, you know what? It's my last semester. Why not try? I joined the activism committee and literally I met fellow social workers who were graduating with me. I think all of us graduated last week. I met them. We brought together so many great programs. Like we attempted to bring a legislator to Fordham, but we lobbied a lot and we did a lot of things together in 3 short months. And I would say, like, look for teams. Like, if you want to join the Black Caucus, if you want to join student government, don't allow being an online student to limit you. Don't think that you only can do what you can do in your home, which is type up your discussions and your papers. Get out there. Go to your school's website. Like GSS has a website and it has events on a calendar. Check the calendar. See if there's anything on that calendar that you would like to get into. And my girl, my guy, get into it. Get into it. And the last thing that you guys are asking me is my career path. I literally just graduated last week. I don't have a career path, but I know that I have a heart for students. I know that I am passionate about students completing school. I know I'm passionate about social workers getting what they need and the support that they need to become the best social workers. I know that I am diehard, head over heels, obsessed with this profession, not from a lens of where the profession is right now, but what I see can be the future of social work. So I don't know what my career path is going to be, but I do envision it being something that is going to redefine the profession for the better. And I'm super excited about that. I'm excited about lobbying. I'm excited about writing legislators. I'm excited about all the things and all the good trouble that I can get into. And I can't wait to take off. Like literally, I cannot wait to take off. So I hope these answers to your questions really made sense to you guys and that you guys are able to just get to know me a little bit more and what my reasoning behind being a social worker is. I'm thankful that you guys even took the time out to ask me questions because you didn't have to, but I do hope that my questions answered, I do hope that my answers answered your questions and that you guys found this video helpful. So until next time, peace.